2025 witnessed some of the most dramatic legal cases settled in Canada. To take a look back at some of those stories, with me now is Nick Kick, criminal defense lawyer. Hi, Nick. Great to see you.
Hi, Akshay. How are you?
Good, thanks. Let's start with the World Junior Hockey scandal. With several twists and turns and years of investigations, months of trial, ended in all 5 players not guilty on all counts. Your take on how it all panned out?
Well, I think it panned out exactly as it should have. The public got to witness firsthand what a criminal court judge does on a daily basis. I mean, this case at its heart was a case about consent, a case about the credibility and the reliability of the witnesses that were prevented. And Her Honor, when she gave her decision late this summer, outlined why it was she had problems with EM's credibility and reliability. And it's the perfect example of the court system working despite potentially a different verdict existing within the court of public opinion. And thankfully, it's only the court of justice that counts.
Okay, next up, let's discuss about the other case, which is the story of the ostrich culling in British Columbia. A very rare sort of a case we saw. The event became a significant news story, drawing national, international attention to the conflict between disease control regulations and animal welfare advocacy. Talk to us about that.
Well, I think even more to that, actually, it was the balance between private interest and public interest. I mean, we had farmers here out in BC who were raising their ostriches and doing what they needed to do to provide for their families and run their business. And then you have the long arm of the government coming in and saying, in the eye of public health, that we need to basically take all your stock and destroy it. And so I think that's why we had such an international attention paid to this case, because of the fact that, again, it was the government coming in and telling its citizens that they have no choice. This is what's going to happen. Sort of akin to what we saw a couple of years ago when we were dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, speaking about COVID-19, Nick, I want to talk to you about another case. We had not seen something like that play out, you know, in the country ever. I'm talking about the Freedom Convoy protest. We saw how the national capital was completely under a lockdown of a different sort, you know, because of the trucks over there. Talk to us about the ramifications of the case and remind us how now the 2 leaders have been spared more jail time at the sentencing in October.
Certainly. Well, I think this case is a prime example of how to use social media to prosecute crimes. I mean, the leaders of the convoy, the so-called leaders of the convoy, set out upon a social media campaign to get the horns honking, to get the trucks parked, and ultimately they were convicted. They were convicted of essentially inciting other people, as well as mischief charges and disobeying court orders. So it shows that if you're going to go out and you're going to do something that's against the law, the last thing you want to do is post it on social media, because everyone, even the police, I know it may be surprising, but even the police have access to that. But ultimately, it's also another example of a judge's discretion when it comes to sentence. And so here we had individuals who did what they did, and they were very serious crimes. And they got a jail sentence. They just got a jail sentence served in the community by way of what we call a conditional sentence. So they'll be essentially locked up in their house. They can't go out. There's a couple hours a week that they can go out to get the necessities of life. But aside from that, they are serving jail in their home. And that's because the judge exercised the discretion that they're granted to craft an appropriate sentence based on the facts that they found. It's a perfect example of how sentencing should work.
Okay, and lastly, I have very little time, so let's talk about the Peter Nygard case, Nick.
Certainly, Peter Nygard, I think, is just an example of the fact that justice has to be seen to be done, but more importantly than being done, essentially. And here we have the police who didn't follow the proper rules and protocols when it came to saving evidence. And ultimately, Mr. Nygard was not given the right to full answer in defense. And so the court stayed the charge because, again, they have to separate themselves from that police conduct. And the only remedy available was a stay of proceedings. So Mr. Nygard goes free on these particular allegations.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Nick Kick, criminal defense lawyer. I appreciate you joining us, Nick, and walking us through all of those big stories, legal stories from the year of 2025. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Take care.
You too.